Alright, we can now begin doing our first basic search using the library catalog and EDS system. It's a lot of fancy jargon for saying that we're going to use this button over here that says search all resources. Search all resources mean it's going to be searching the databases that were in here. And as you remember before, the databases contain ebooks, online magazines, online journals, streaming video. So it's kind of nice that we have what I affectionately call scholarly Google right here. So by clicking on that, we'll get a search bar that again looks a little bit like Google, so it's familiar here. So this is where I'd put in my topic. I can ask my question here. So I always like to keep it really basic just to see what's in there, and then I'll start adding in those keywords that I thought of before. So I'll put in legalization of, in this case it's suggesting me marijuana. I can change that to cannabis if I want. We'll pick that for now and hit search. Great, so I can see it pulled up a fair amount of results here. Over 26,000 results, which is awesome. I can start reading through to get an idea of what has been pulled from here, but usually what I want to do is, even before I jump into reading, I want to set some what's called limiters. Now limiters are on the left hand side here, and this basically will filter out things we want, things we don't want from our search. So remember before when I said we can use a library to pick just scholarly or peer-reviewed items? That's what this limiter will do right here. So by clicking scholarly or peer-reviewed journals, it's filtered out things like newspapers, it's filtered out opinion pieces. So now we're just getting the scholarly research that has been vetted by professionals. Sometimes it's good to run your search with this off. Again, want to see what's out there. This is a machine filtering it too, so sometimes it might filter out too much stuff. It might be too good in that way. So we always like to keep our thinking caps on just to see if maybe it's filtering something that I do actually want to end up reading that is considered scholarly. I can look at and see if it has the citation, it's been vetted by people in the field. The other thing I want to be looking at is the publication date. So because we're doing something health related, we want to make sure the research is within the last 5 years. And why would you want to do it within the last 5 years and not the last 10 years? Well, imagine trying to look up something that is 10 years old that has to do with the legalization of marijuana. People's opinions and the research was a lot different 10 years ago. Try to get it as recent as possible. This is the same thing with technology topics, and most topics that you don't need a primary resource for, so you're not quoting someone that had a historical document on this topic. That might be more relevant for other topics, but in this case, since it's purely health related, we'll click in this and we'll press 2015, hit enter, and the results will now update. I can see over here it will tell me what kind of result it is, an academic journal, it might say ebook, it might say case report. And if I only wanted one source type, maybe your teacher said, I want you to find 3 ebooks and I want you to find 3 journals, and I'm just looking for ebooks right now or just looking for journals, I can use another limiter over here where I can just filter it out by that type. So sometimes you might find that really handy. There's of course tons of other limiters you can be using to filter your results right off the top. Another one that I really like is geography. So maybe I just wanted results from, say, Canada. That might be another place that I could be using that as well, that nice filter. Let's say we're ready to read one of these articles. This one at the top looks like it could be interesting. So I'll click on the title of the article. And on this page, we can read the overview or the abstract of the item. So this saves me time from reading the entire journal and finding out it's not what I wanted after all. Another thing that I really like about this page is the keywords that they used for this article. So if I liked this article and I wanted to find something similar, I can steal some of their keywords and toss it into my search for the next time I run it. So maybe I wanted to know a little bit more about legalization of marijuana and maybe the drug testing or the case law, or if there was anything related to the workplace, maybe that's how I wanted to filter my question. It's really cool to steal these keywords right here and run your search again. Okay, let's say I'm ready to read this article at this point. I would click over here where it says PDF full text. Sometimes it might say read in full text finder, sometimes it might say read in DOAJ. This just means it's putting you to another database. So the interface will change, but it will be a database within a Confederation College Library database that we own. So click on PDF full text. Here we go, I have this article in its entirety, all 28 pages. It's pretty neat because I can select it. If I wanted to do, an in-text quote in my own paper, I can copy it into there. And of course, you always just want to double check and make sure that it has, its citation list. I also want to double check the date. I can see it's very, very recent, so I'm not too worried about it getting dated as well for the purposes of this paper. Let's say I wanted to save this article. How would I do that? So over on the right hand side, you'll see a couple icons here to save this item. If I have a Gmail or a Google Drive account, I can save this whole article there, which is awesome. If I want to print it, so this icon. I can email the title of the article to myself. I could save it in a folder if I had an account in this system. You'll see at the top here it says sign in, make my account there, and it would be saved in here that I can go find later. I can also just save the link to this item. That's where I would click on the permalink. So very, very important note about the permalink is that this will take you directly back to this article. If you use the URL link up here at the top, it times out after I think about an hour. So you want to make sure you're always using the permalink. This will be, as it suggests, permanent. It will be there forever. So if you want to come back to this and you've saved all your items in, let's say, an email, or you put it in a Word document, you want to come back to it afterwards, you want to make sure you're saving the permalink. Now, what if I wanted to cite this paper? Well, I can go through and grab the title, grab the author, and build the citation myself. But I can use this cool little cheat over here called the Cite button. Looks like a little piece of paper. And now I have it cited in a variety of different formats. The one we use at Confederation College is APA. So here's the APA citation. A word of caution, the APA citations aren't always perfect. There's some things you could do to make it more specific to the APA 7th edition. Sometimes I might have more than one author listed, so you would use the et al. You just want to maybe double check that it is indeed the correct journal. And in this case, APA usually will be in the DOI format, but you would want to put the permalink format in there so your instructors and you can come back to this article if you ever needed to. So the DOI, just like the URL one, will time out. A little frustrating, but just a good FYI to know now instead of having that headache later on. So this is pretty great. I can read these articles, I can come back, I know a little bit about how to use limiters as well as my basic search. Want to go back to my searches, I'll just click results list. As always, I can go up in here, I can add more to my search, I can take it out and run a brand new search if I wanted to. But in a nutshell, that's how we do a basic search using our Search All Resources button. I hope that was helpful.